Okay, again, Bob Sullivan, moving on with our medication dose, volume, concentration lesson here. And we're going to spend one video talking about epinephrine. Epinephrine comes in different concentrations. It has multiple uses. It's given by different routes, and it's only given in critical life-threatening situations. If you have epinephrine out, the patient must be in danger of dying, and you're going to be under a lot of stress. And it's very easy, and it happens to make a tenfold dosing error, either giving 10 times too much or only 10% of what you intended to give. So it's really, really, really important that we get this right for all our size patients, but it gets even more difficult with pediatric patients when we're dealing with such a small amount under even more stress. So I'm glad there's other safety mechanisms out there to help make this easier. But we're going to go back and we're going to do the math and show how all of those devices out there, got these calculations and directions. So we're going to start with epinephrine, which is 1 milligram in 1 milliliter. And it's also called 1 to 1,000. That was another term that shouldn't be used anymore, but you might hear some people say it. But they say epi 1 to 1,000, or that's what they mean. What really scares me is when you say epi 1 to 1. I know what that means, and you probably will too. But again, really very important to say milligrams per milliliter after, just for safety practices. So let's talk about 1 milligram. And the volume is 1 milliliter. So what's our concentration is, and we're not going to do an anaphylaxis lesson, but epinephrine from a vial only gets delivered intramuscularly. You should never just draw this out of a vial and inject it into an IV. There's times you'll have to dilute it, which because of drug shortages, we'll do that and talk about that in a second. But epinephrine 1 milligram per milliliter, or epinephrine 1 to 1,000, only given intramuscular, and that's going to be for anaphylaxis or maybe respiratory failure. So epinephrine 1 to 1, given IM, easy enough. But let's look at this guy. So this is adrenaline, which is also epinephrine injection, adrenaline. As here, and this is 30 milliliters. So the dose of this one is 30 milligrams, and the volume is 30 milliliters. So this 30 milligram vial contains the same concentration of epinephrine as this 1 milliliter vial. Now this scares me because you're going to be drawing out a tiny amount of epinephrine from this big vial, and in the heat of the moment that might not seem right. So I don't like this vial, and I don't know if it belongs in paramedic drug boxes. But if you disagree, please let me know. So we're going to have either this medication or this medication, and this one also should only be given intramuscular. If we're going to draw it from a vial and deliver it directly to a patient, it's going to be given intramuscular. And again, barring a drug shortage, you would not want to draw this up and give it IV directly in this concentration. Now we may dilute it into a less of a concentration, but if we're drawing this directly from the vial, again, cannot emphasize enough, only given intramuscular. And this is the same concentration. You pull this out of your bag and you want to give 0.5 milligrams of epinephrine. This is the amount that you're going to give. whichever vial you're drawing it from. It's going to be the same amount, same concentration, but different volumes in the vials. Okay. So the next, this is the epinephrine dose that we would put this directly into an IV for cardiac arrest. And epinephrine is concentrated in 1 milligram. And the volume of this is 10 milliliters. So if we have 1 milligram, 10, we're going to move the decimal point over, that is going to be 0.1 milligrams per milliliter, which you can see there when you open the box. It's going to come in a package like this. These go together. These pieces go together, and then you would give 1 milligram for cardiac arrest and 10 ml. So we would give this, and if it's an adult in cardiac arrest, most protocols, we're going to give the entire 10 milliliters. Now, because of drug shortages, in a lot of areas, these are not available. So when that occurs, agencies have this vial, and now we need to dilute it. And there's a few different ways that we can do that. One of them is we're going to take our 10 ml saline flush, dump 1 milliliter, or squirt 1 milliliter out, draw that in. We're going to agitate it. I would recommend taping this, or you have to relabel this, because if this is just sitting down, no one's going to know if there's epinephrine in it or if there's a normal saline in it. That could easily be a fatal error. And this can be taped to it. Now, we have the same concentration of epinephrine that's in here. We diluted it. We had 1 milligram per milliliter. We injected that into this. We squirted 1 ml of saline out of this, drew in the 1 milliliter. We're going to agitate it. Now, these are the same concentration. If you took this vial, it would be the same procedure. You would only draw 1 milliliter out of here. Even though there's 30 milliliters in the vial, we would still only draw 1 milliliter out, which would make 1 milliliter, or 1 milligram in 10 mLs.